I am Justin. I am a computer gaming addict. I grew up in a family of dysfunction. My life was started out pretty chaotic, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was very young. My parents got divorced when I was 7. I felt a lot of pain. The reason that was leading to divorce was, lots of arguing, and that's what I remember as a kid. Gaming was an easy way for me to start coping with some of that. It was my tool. I can remember it. It was euphoric. My first memories of gaming were awe filled. It gave me feelings of peace and power. It gave me feelings that I had control of things for once in my life. It felt like everything would be okay. It gave me a place to run, really. It gave me a place that I could go and hide and not have to deal. Because that was my problem. I didn't want to deal, and I didn't know how to deal, even if I wanted to. And so I chose to play games. I noticed in the beginning I could play games, and it wasn't a big deal. I would still go outside, I'd still try and interact. But slowly, the longer I played games, more and more, it just consumed my life. And I began seeing the results of gaming become apparent because gaming began to take things from me. I've heard the saying that the addiction is the great remover. In my case, gaming is the great remover. That's my reality. Gaming took everything from me. It took friends, it took family, it took, my achievements and my ambitions to do anything in life, to become successful, to act, cry. All I cared about was the games. That was it. I noticed that, or not back then, but now, that there was a lot of behaviors that came up while I was gaming that replaced. There were some things that got removed, and then there were some behaviors that got replaced. And there was things like lying, where I was a liar. I would lie to play games more. I would lie to get what I wanted when I wanted it. I would put on a facade to make others think that I was something that I wasn't, so that I wouldn't have to admit that I was a gamer. I was ashamed of myself. I was ashamed of gaming. I just wanted to hide and I wanted nobody to know my secrets. I was a liar to others and a liar to myself. I was self-centered. The world was about me, what I wanted, what I needed, when I wanted and needed it. This would hurt a lot of people around me. It would hurt my family and my friends. Things that I can remember, such as not going to certain events that would come up with family or friends because I'd rather play a game. Or I would ask them to come over to hang out with me, and I'd make them wait 2 hours because I told them that there was a raid that was going to finish in a couple minutes, and it took forever because I had to get that piece of gear that would make me, have this sense of self esteem that I never had before. I was constantly angry. I was full of rage. All the rage and all the anger that was never actually being dealt with. It was just being kept at bay. I would feel rage and then I'd go play a game. And then I'd continue feeling more rage as I played the games where I would make mistakes and I wouldn't be perfect at things. I wouldn't meet other people's expectations or my own expectations of myself to play perfectly or to be this amazing, game player that I should be. And I would break things. I would yell at people and get physical if they interrupted my gaming, or if I made a mistake, or if someone on my team made a mistake, or something like that. And it was just crazy, And I lived in a life of fear, lived in a life of denial. I didn't know what I would do without gaming. Gaming was everything, it was my identity. I didn't know who I would be, what I would be without gaming. And it was a comfort in my life so that I didn't have to feel discomfort. As long as I've got gaming here, everything will be okay. But that was far from the truth. Everything was not okay. I would rationalize with myself and tell myself, if I really wanted to quit gaming enough, if there was enough desire there, I could do it. No problem. It's possible. I'll just put it down and things will be good. And I tried and I tried and I tried again. Each time coming back and saying, yeah, well, I'll play less this time. It's not going to be as bad this time. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. I'd convince others around me that it wasn't going to be a big deal and that I could handle it, and I couldn't. That's what led me here. I ended up getting to a place in my gaming where it wasn't enough anymore. I was in so much pain, and I was so sick, and I was so tired. It just wasn't working. All the games that I was playing, there wasn't enough games. I tried. I looked for every MMO I could find to escape, and nothing was working anymore because I'd played for 10 to 12 years non-stop, hiding from everything in my life. And every other game in the book, I probably played every game every game genre that you can think of, because that defined who I am. I even remember my wedding cake was my favorite gaming company at the time. It led me to where I am because it wasn't working and I had to find a solution. I got so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I remember looking at the Reddit forums and searching around on the internet. What is a solution to this? Are there other people that feel this way? Please tell me I'm not crazy. Please tell me that somebody's finally found that this is a real addiction, because I remember for the last 10 years before that, I was trying to, with half measures, work another 12-step program that was unsuccessful. I always told myself, man, I wish there was something for gaming, because I know this is an issue, but I just don't know what to do with it. So I just kept gaming. I'm so grateful I found this program. So grateful, because, things started changing. I ended up quitting games and quitting gaming on October 26, 2015. When I quit, I thought that things would be cured right then and that things would be okay. But after quitting, I realized that my problems didn't cease to exist. Just because gaming was gone didn't mean that things were going to just be perfect right then, that things were going to be great and that I was cured and gaming was the only problem, because you know there was a lot of other issues that came into my life. Fear still pervaded my life after I stopped gaming. I realized that I had a fear-based identity, where I used gaming as a means to escape the fear, but after the gaming was gone, the fear is still there. But there were some benefits that started happening too. I did realize that there was the fear, but then I started working on myself and I started taking ownership of my life and looking at my side of the street when things came up. And I realized, yeah, this is my fear and I've got to work on it. And I know I need help. I started working the steps. I started admitting, yeah, my life is powerless and I've got a lot of unmanageability. When I got to my second and third steps, I had an immense grieving process where I cried, and I still cry over my higher power. When I would hear other people talk about their relationship to this higher power, I grew up in a family where religion was indoctrinated and very dogmatic. It was one way or no way, that way or the highway. And I hated God. I hated the higher power for years and years, even trying in my other 12-step program to work through that. Every single time I try and work things with a new sponsor, which was probably 5 different times at least, I would run at the second or third step because I just could not do it. I couldn't understand these people's relationship to this higher power. I could understand their sickness, but I couldn't agree with it, and I hated it. And since coming here to CGAA, I found my home, and something here, something with my higher power, allowed me to grieve and work through that. And I found finally a relationship to this higher power that I call God. I'm not going to say it hasn't been challenging, because it's still a work in process, but I'm learning to trust that maybe this higher power really does care about me. And I know I've cried hearing the idea that this higher power that I have who I can't see, I can't feel, like I can't physically feel, but I feel it inside. And I know that my higher power is with me. And I come to these rooms and I experience the idea of a higher power. It's been pretty cool. And, where I'm at today is that I think I'm just over 5 months of being game free. I still struggle with the principles and the after effects of leaving gaming. That's because it's progress, not perfection. It's always going to be there. I'm never going to escape feelings. I'm never going to controverse situations. It's all about how I deal with them now. Do I choose to game today? Or am I going to choose to talk to others? Am I going to choose to work with a higher power? Am I going to choose to work the steps? Am I going to choose to love myself today? What do I do today? For this one day, that's the best that I got. And what do I want to do with it? Because that's the thing that I do have a choice over. Some things that are different is that I started calling people regularly. Started making my program the priority in life instead of the secondary back burner. Because that's what I did with my other program. I worked it with half measures. And I heard the saying many times that, the program works if you work it. And I wasn't ever really working it. I just wanted it to give me a release just temporarily so I could go back to doing what I was doing the whole time. I'm not doing that anymore. I love this place. I love y'all. I've heard it said, and I haven't said it before, but it's so true. Y'all are my people. And I believe that so much because I could not have got through what I've been through the last 5 months without coming to these meetings and without meeting y'all, without having support from this fellowship. So I'm very grateful. A couple of things that I've been noticing as well that have been getting better is that I've started focusing on self-care in my life. Things that are simple. Brushing my teeth, making sure I shower, just simple self-care, which has allowed me to work even greater self-care when I'm feeling hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Am I looking at it and am I making an effort to actually take care of the needs in my life? Am I trying to let others set boundaries with me and respect them? Am I able to set boundaries on my own? All these things that I had no freaking clue about before I got here. And by working the tools and working with my sponsor and getting support and taking the direction and feedback that I get from members here and actually taking action, then I've noticed that things change. Sometimes they get worse before they get better, but it's okay. And I realize that things are going to be okay. Yeah, that's where I am today. Appreciate y'all being here. I love you all, and thanks for listening.